You ever walk into a place and just feel something's off? Like the air's heavy and every little creak makes your skin crawl? Yeah, that's exactly how it felt the first time I stepped into that house. I wasn't looking for trouble that day. Honestly, I just wanted a quiet escape, you know? City life was loud, and I needed a break. So when I heard about this old country house for rent, big, isolated, dirt cheap, I thought, why not? Fresh air, some space to think. Sounded perfect. But here's the thing. The locals had this look every time I mentioned the address. You know that face people make when they want to warn you. But don't want to sound crazy? Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I brushed it off. I've never been the superstitious type. Ghosts? Demons? Nah, I could only believed in bad plumbing and loose floorboards. But the day I moved in, man, the place was gorgeous. Old, yeah, but solid. Huge windows, creaky wooden stairs, that kind of vintage charm Instagram would eat up. But something felt off. The second I stepped inside, it was like the whole house held its breath. No joke. You know how a place has its own sound? Like the hum of life? This place was dead silent. That first night was when things started to get weird. I'm lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, trying to ignore the fact that this place feels like a damn crypt when I hear it. Slow, deliberate, like footsteps. On the stairs, I freeze, hold my breath and listen. But then just nothing. It's silence again. So I laugh it off, tell myself it's the old wood settling or whatever. You know, the excuses we make when we're alone and scared? Yeah, I do that. But then, at exactly midnight, I swear, I'm not making this up, every door in that house slams shut. All at once, boom, like a shotgun blast in every room. I jump out of bed, heart racing, and check every door. All locked from the inside. Windows, still closed. Nobody's in here but me. That's when I start thinking, okay, maybe the locals weren't just being weird. Maybe this house really is something else. And then the dreams start. Every night I'm dreaming of these faces. Pale, sunken eyes, mouths open like they're screaming. But no sound comes out. Just empty screams. And the worst part? When I wake up, I can still see them. Reflected in the damn mirror. Standing behind me. I try to tell myself I'm just tired, overworked. But then, one night I hear voices. Soft at first, like whispers through the walls. I press my ear against the plaster and, no kidding, it feels warm. Like there's something alive in there. Breathing, and then the whispers turn into laughter. Ugly broken laughter like someone choking while they laugh. That was it. I decided first thing in the morning, I'm out. Screw the deposit, screw the furniture, I just want out. But the house had other plans. See, the front door wouldn't open, at all. Deadbolts turned, locks clicked, but that door wouldn't budge. Neither would the windows. It was like the whole place had sealed itself shut, like it didn't want to let me go. And then I hear it, upstairs, heavy footsteps. Slow, coming straight for me. So yeah, that's when I stopped thinking this was in my head. That house was alive, and it wanted me. The last thing I remember before blacking out? A shadow. Tall, bent at an angle no human should bend, crawling down the stairs like a spider. And that laugh. When I woke up, I was outside, lying on the front lawn. Sun shining, birds chirping, like nothing ever happened. The door, wide open. I didn't go back for my stuff. I didn't even look inside. I just ran. And if you're wondering where that house is, I'm not telling you. Because some doors, you just don't open. One day I get this letter in the mail. Jury duty. Ugh, the thing everyone hates. I tried to get out of it, but nope, they had me. Anyway, the case? A murder trial. Some guy accused of killing a wealthy businessman. Pretty high profile, lots of attention. First day, I walk into the courtroom and everything feels normal. Lawyers, judge, the usual boring legal stuff. But then, I notice something weird. There's this guy sitting behind the defendant. He's not moving, not blinking, just staring. I figure, okay, maybe he's family or a friend or whatever. But then, I look again, and he's gone. Like poof. No one even saw him leave. All right, whatever. Maybe I imagined it. Long day, right? That night I can't sleep. I keep seeing that guy's face. Pale, hollow eyes. This twisted grin like he knows something I don't. Creepy as hell. Next day in court, we're listening to the witnesses, and suddenly, there he is again. Same guy, same spot, behind the defendant. But here's the thing, nobody else sees him. I nudge the juror next to me like, hey, do you see that guy? She looks at me like I'm nuts. Says, what guy? That's when it hits me. This isn't normal. Stuff starts happening. Papers on the judge's desk? They move, like by themselves. The water pitcher tips over when no one's touching it. People keep feeling cold drafts, even though every window's shut. But the weirdest part? Every time the defense says something shady, I feel this presence right behind me. Like someone leaning in, whispering. But I can't hear the words, just feel the breath on my neck. Fast forward to deliberation day. We're in that cramped jury seats, going back and forth on the verdict. And out of nowhere, I see him. Not behind the defendant this time. No, he's in the room, standing in the corner, watching us. Everyone else is arguing, and I'm just staring at this guy. And then he points, slowly, at me. Like he's saying, do the right thing. I swear I feel my blood turn to ice. My hands are shaking. And then, he walks through the damn wall. Just gone. At that point, I'm done. I don't care if they lock me up for contempt, I'm telling the truth. So I slam my hands on the table and say, he's guilty. End of story. The others look at me shocked. But then, one by one, they start agreeing. Like something just clicked. Verdict, guilty. After the trial, I'm leaving the courthouse. And for a second, I feel this calm, like the air's lighter. I look back, and there he is, across the street. Same hollow eyes, same grin. But this time, he nods, like, thanks. And then he vanishes. I never told anyone this. Who would believe me, right? But I swear, when you're in that courtroom, when the dead want justice, they find a way. I remember the first time I saw him. It was a quiet day, and I was walking near the edge of this old railway cutting, like a deep trench carved into the ground, with huge stone walls on each side. It felt weirdly claustrophobic. I leaned over and saw a guy down there, standing by a little red building, the kind of hut you'd see in old movies. He was wearing this old-fashioned uniform, and looked like the kind of guy who takes his job seriously. I called out like, "Hey! Hello down there!" He froze, like legit froze, then slowly looked up at me, and man, the look on his face gave me chills, like he'd seen a ghost or something. I waved and said, "Can I come down and talk to you?" He hesitated, then nodded, but I swear he looked uneasy. So I climbed down the steep, rocky path, and when I got to him, he just stared at me like he was expecting me to say something very specific. I tried to break the ice. "Nice spot you got here. Must be quiet, huh?" He just shook his head slightly, then said real slow, "You called me like that before." I laughed awkwardly. No, dude. First time meeting you." But he was dead serious. Anyway, I hung out with him for a bit. He showed me the signal box, the telegraph, all that old school stuff. I asked if the job got lonely, and he admitted, yeah, kinda. But then his voice dropped, and he told me something that honestly made my stomach turn. He said, "Every time I hear that exact call, 'Hello down there,' it means something bad's about to happen." I was like, "What do you mean?" And then he told me. Apparently, a while back, he heard that exact shout, looked up, saw a figure by the tunnel waving frantically. He ran to the spot, and right after that, there was a massive train wreck. People died. It happened again later. Same thing, the call, the figure, the frantic waving. And then, another horrible accident. And now, he swears he's been seeing that figure again, hanging around the tunnel. Sometimes it waves, sometimes it just stands there, covering its face like it's crying. And the crazy part? Every time it appears, he hears the same words. "Hello down there." The exact same thing I yelled earlier. I laughed nervously like, man, that's creepy. But hey, maybe it's just stress messing with you. But he wasn't joking. His hands were shaking when he told me, and he kept looking over his shoulder at the tunnel. I told him I'd come back the next day, just to check in. But when I did, there were people there, a crowd, and a train stopped near the tunnel. The signalman was dead. They told me he'd been hit by the train. The driver swore he was blowing the whistle and waving like crazy, trying to warn him. You know what the driver yelled as he came at him? "Hello down there. For God's sake, clear the way." Same words, exactly the same. And now, I can't stop thinking about the way that guy looked at me the first time we met, like he already knew what was coming.